Hello, and welcome to the latest in gaming, my gaming news show coming at you live 3 days a week until I decide to change the schedule. It is currently Friday, May 16th, 2025, and today's topics are Red Dead 2 may be coming to Switch 2 this year. Do you remember Fair Games? The studio had just left, and AI Darth Vader is in Fortnite, a sentence I never suspected I would say. All that and more. If any of that sounds interesting to you, stick around. And if you're feeling generous, why not help a brother out? Hit that subscribe or like button. Without further ado, I think I'm just going to jump right into it. Start with Red Dead 2. Perfect. Okay. So this comes from Andy Robinson at VGC. Red Dead Redemption 2 is reportedly coming to Switch 2 as Take-Two commits to Nintendo. Rockstar's RDR2 will reportedly release for Switch 2 alongside a PS5 and Xbox Series X update. So this is according to Game Reactor, which says it's heard from sources close to Rockstar that the acclaimed open-world game is in the works for Nintendo's new console, citing its own sources. Nintendo also says RDR2 is coming to Switch 2. It's claimed that RDR2 for Switch 2 could release around the same time as an update for the game, an update to the game for current-gen hardware, with graphics and performance improvements. Red Dead Redemption 2 was first released for PS4 and Xbox One in October 2018 before making its way to PC in November 2019. Yeah, and then there's just more updates on that stuff. So it's just, is leaked. Oh, wait, sorry. When TGB noted that third-party titles traditionally find it harder to succeed on Nintendo platforms, Zelnick replied, "That is true. Historically, Nintendo has done a better and more supportive job with first-party titles, but I think they are aiming to change that." Cool. Yeah, so this is quite interesting. Makes a lot of sense, if we know that the Switch 2 is going to be significantly more powerful than the Switch 1 and be like I think around like PS4 Pro levels of power, but then also it has uses AI to make things run even better, I believe. I'm not super sure on all this stuff, but and Red Dead 2 runs very well on just a base PS4. That's what I played it on. I don't think it was 60. I think it was 30 FPS, but honestly, I could see this running 60 on handheld, which would be crazy. We know... Oh, jeez. Didn't realize I was over here. My bad. What was I saying? Yeah, we know it's already on Steam Deck, and it runs well on that. I've seen lots of good things. It's obviously not incredible on Steam Deck. There are better options, but not really. It's for being a handheld system, it's quite good. This is exciting. Maybe a lot of Nintendo fans will get their hands on it for the first time. I can't imagine it doing super well because most people, I find a lot of people that have a Switch that like to play other games. They're not usually waiting for a copy on the Switch. They just buy it on other consoles because a lot of people will have a Switch and a PlayStation or a Switch and a PC. But I could see this definitely doing decent. It'll probably be fully priced, I would imagine, a nice $60 game in the US would be $80 here in Canada. That would be my guess, but maybe more, maybe a bit less. I personally love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time, but I'm probably not going to be playing it on Switch 2 because why would I buy it again when I have it on PlayStation and it's kind of looking around better? But having it on mobile, or having it on a handheld would be quite nice. Oh my goodness, I forgot to fucking hit record again. Do this every time. Okay. Yeah, it was just kind of a cool thing I wanted to start off with. Quite an interesting news story. But now let's move on to another Nintendo-related story. Nintendo confirms previously expected Switch 2 feature won't be available at launch. This also comes from Andy Robinson at VGC. Variable refresh rate, VRR, will not be supported in dock mode, Nintendo says. Despite initially announcing the feature, Nintendo has confirmed the Switch 2 will not support variable refresh rate when played in docked television mode. VRR, in Nintendo's words, helps game move seamlessly. VRR, in Nintendo's words, helps games move seamlessly by preventing frame skips and flickering. If you ever watch one of my streams, you know what a frame skip is. That should be constantly skipping frames. Following Switch 2's full reveal in April, Nintendo's official website had advertised VRR support for the console in both handheld and docked mode. However, some weeks later, it was noticed that references to VRR had been quietly removed in relation to docked play. Now, over a month later, Nintendo has finally clarified that the Switch 2 will support VRR in handheld mode, but not on the TV. Spokesperson told Nintendo Life, Nintendo Switch 2 supports VRR in handheld mode only. The incorrect information was initially published on the Nintendo Switch 2 website, and we apologize for the error. When asked if VRR support for docked mode could be added later via a firmware update, Nintendo said, "We have nothing to announce on this topic. Switch 2 is launching on June 5th, blah, 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 blah." This is, like, I don't know, it's not terrible news, not the worst thing in the world. VR, I'm not a super big into tech guy, but I don't think it's a huge disappointment to be missing this. And it does seem like, at least to me, that they'll be adding it eventually in the future. So maybe it's just something they weren't able to figure out for the launch, but they'll get it there eventually. Maybe I'm wrong by saying that. But it is weird to see Nintendo, step back and apologize for something. It's kind of strange. It's a out of character for them for sure. I don't have a lot to say on this just because I don't know a whole lot about VRR. So let's move on to Fair Games. So if you don't remember, this game got announced a couple years ago at a PlayStation State of Play, I think. I think it was a State of Play. It might have been a PlayStation Showcase. But anyways, it was like that terrible one that everybody hates where they announced 3 multiplayer live service games. There was multiple extraction shooters. It's just excuse me. I think they announced Concord there, and they announced this, and I think they announced Marathon, 3 multiplayer live service games. One's failed, one not doing too hot anymore, or one's releasing in a few months, but it's had a lot of negativity towards it. And then Fair Games is the one we know the least about. We got one trailer for it, and got a big update that its studio head just left. So this comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. Jade Raymond has left Haven Studios, the PlayStation-owned studio she founded. Sony acquired the Assassin's Creed producers studio in 2022. According to a new report by Bloomberg, Raymond, who rose to prominence after producing Assassin's Creed and executive producing Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, and Watch Dogs, has left her studio, which is still in the process of developing online shooter Fair Games. Although a reason wasn't given for Raymond's departure, the report cites sources who note that an external test of Fair Games took place several weeks ago and that some developers were concerned about how it was received. Oof, not good. Not good at all. The departure rounds off an eventful decade for Raymond, who left Ubisoft. Oh, didn't. I got a chat there, huh? Barat Beksi. I don't know when you said that. I'm so bad at checking the chat. It doesn't. Since I don't have much going, it doesn't I don't see it scrolling. So if you come back, Barrett Beksi, definitely butchered your name. Let me know what that's about. The departure rounds off an eventful decade for Raymond, who left Ubisoft to found EA's Motive Studio in 2015 before leaving in 2018 for Google Stadia. Wow, very... It's like she's just like walking and just picture Jade Raymond like walking and just everything behind her, every step, like as soon as she lifts her foot, just fire explosions behind her. After Google Stadia is decided to close its internal game development teams in 2021. I don't really want that there at the bottom of the screen, so I think I'm gonna does that get rid of it? No, it does not. Thought that would work. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Along with 5 co-founders and around 20 ex-Google employees. After Google decided to close its internal games development teams in 2021, Raymond left her position as Stadia's development boss, and along with 5 co-founders and around 20 ex-Google employees, launched Haven Studios, a Montreal-based outfit with PlayStation funding its first game, which turned out to be Fair Games. Sony then announced in 2022 it was acquiring the studio for an undisclosed price. Well, I mean, good for Jade and the team for, getting their money. So I guess it seemed like it was PlayStation's decision to make this game. They hired them for this game, and even though they didn't own them to begin with, they own them later. So I don't think it was their decision. Obviously, this is probably something we'll never know, but I don't think it was their decision to make Fair Games. I assume it was probably Sony's being like, hey, we'll give you a bunch of money to make a live service game. They're like, sure, why not? This couldn't go bad in any way at all. Jade Raymond has been an incredible partner and visionary force in founding Haven Studios, a PlayStation spokesperson told Bloomberg. We are deeply grateful for her leadership and contributions, and we wish her all the best in her next chapter. They added that PlayStation is committed to supporting Haven Studios and excited to continue the journey, implying that development on Fair Games will proceed even though Sony has canceled numerous other online multiplayer projects in recent months. Earlier this year, it was reported that Sony had canceled live service games in development at Bend Studio and Blue Point Games, the latter reportedly being a live service God of War title. God. The decision followed the failure of online game Concord, which Sony pulled from sale and took offline within just 2 weeks of its release. Haven Studios will now be led by Marie-Eve Danis and Pierre-Francois Sapinski, following Raymond's departure. Fair Game was originally revealed back in May 2023 with a CGI trailer and was described at the time by creative director Mathieu Leduc as a fresh, modern take on the heist genre. In a nutshell, this is a thrilling competitive heist game where you join underground movement to rob the ultra-rich and rebalance the scales. It's almost like they're robbing themselves, to be honest. Why would a group of criminals have to go and rob a $1 billion company like, I don't know, Sony, when they'll go and waste fucking bajillions on 12 live service games at a time and then cancel most of them years later? So far, 2 have released, and one of them got shut down the first week it was out, and it was the biggest failure in gaming history. So, it's off to Sony for robbing themselves. That's definitely a fresh and modern take on the heist genre, if I do say so myself. Way to go, guys. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about today. I got a much quicker show today because I've got places to be. I feel like I say that every day. Fortnite. In the biggest question mark story of the day, the biggest why is Fortnite added a Darth Vader AI NPC. This comes from Ashley Claudino at Game Rant. So some Spark Notes. Fortnite introduces an AI-powered Darth Vader NPC for interactive player conversations. Darth Vader NPC is designed to interact positively but avoid sensitive topics in Fortnite. Friendly NPCs offer health items and sell goods. Unfriendly NPCs have rare loot. Yeah. I'm not going to read through this whole thing here, but basically they got the voice of the late James Earl Jones, and with permission from the family. They were in close contact with the family, because he is no longer with us, unfortunately. They made this AI NPC in Fortnite, which is, I gotta say, it is cool, but like, I don't know, why is Fortnite the first game? Of course it is Fortnite the first game to do this, but like, I don't know, it just seems so like AI has become such like a buzzword. Companies love to shove it into everything, no matter how much like society hates AI. A huge portion of society also loves it. So like, companies right now are just obsessed with finding literally any way to jam AI into their products. And this is how they were able to do it with Fortnite, which is, I don't know, it's pretty creative, I guess. I want to show some clips of it. So this is made with Google Gemini. There's some clips in this. And apparently if you like mention to Darth Vader that you're, if that you don't want to be around anymore, it'll be like the go seek help, basically, yeah, so here's some videos here.
Venus Heart, you are inside a llama town.
Find myself disturbed. He doesn't like the llama towns. Llama towns.
Makeup is clearly inferior to an AT8.
See, and you can even see that it's got like issues already. Like it says an AT8, which I've heard many different names for that thing. Well, I've heard two different names. It's the the big camel thing from Star Wars. I've heard it called an AT-AT or an AT-AT. Absolutely never an AT-8. That maybe that is the original name, but I can't imagine that's what George Lucas was thinking of. So you can clearly tell it's like it's got the voice and it's just reading off a script that it is writing in the moment, and it's not perfect. I guess it's still kind of cool though. Whoops.
Venus Heart, your training is complete. Your skills are adequate. I shall lead this squad to victory.
Like, I don't know. It is kind of cool. It's growing on me the more that I see it, to be honest. But it just seems so weird. I'm thinking I might live stream tomorrow and try to gang up with them. I think that might be kind of fun. Yeah, okay, that's... And final news story of the day. Wow, 17 minutes in. Doing pretty good. The beef between Apple and Fortnite continues. Fortnite reapplied to have Epic reapplied to have Fortnite reinstated on the iOS App Store because it's been gone for years. I don't know how many years. It's been gone for a while. And they said, nah. Apple said, no, actually, we're good. We don't need your game. Apple has blocked Fortnite from coming to the iOS App Store. Epic Games says. This comes from Chris Gillian at VGC. The iOS version will be offline worldwide until Apple unblocks it, Epic says. The game was submitted to Apple for review on May 9th, but on May 14th, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney told followers on X that Apple still hadn't approved the game's release. Now the game's official X account has posted a statement saying the game's addition to the iOS App Store has been blocked, and that the game will be unavailable globally on iOS until Apple reverses its decision. Apple has blocked our Fortnite submission, so we cannot release the US App Store to the US App Store or to the Epic Games Store for iOS in the European Union. The statement reads, now sadly, Fortnite on iOS will be offline worldwide until Apple unblocks it. This is the latest chapter in the ongoing Epic v. Apple saga, which stretches back to 2020 when the Fortnite publisher sued Apple for taking a 30% cut on all in-app purchases, while also banning any alternative ways of making payments outside of Apple's ecosystem. This is the latest chapter on the ongoing just read that. Dumbass. Epic tries to bypass Apple's platform fees in 2020 by adding a new direct payment option in Fortnite, but Apple then removed the game from the App Store and terminated Epic's developer account. Apple was then ordered in 2021 to allow iOS developers to link to external payment options in their apps, But when it did, it also added a 27% commission on purchases made through web links in apps, as well as prompts warning users about the safety risks of using web links to web link purchases. Earlier this month, a U.S. judge ordered Apple to stop forcing the 27% commission and using its prompt stating that it has violated a 2021 injunction and that VP Alex Roman had outright lied under oath, meaning the company could face criminal contempt charges. Oh my goodness. I'm not a great reader, I'll be honest. Epic responded to the order by saying it was preparing to bring Fortnite back to the iOS App Store in May, and also introduced a change to its Epic Rewards plan, which now gives players a 20% back in rewards if they make Fortnite, Rocket League, or Fall Guys purchases directly through Epic instead of through a platform's payment system. On Wednesday, however, Sweeney expressed his frustration at how long it was taking Apple to approve the game's release, telling one follower, "No news from Apple yet. They've had it since last Friday." Sweeney also explained to another follower this week that that platform holders are expected to support the release of apps and regular updates when it comes to continually evolving live service games, and that if a company like Apple obstructs the process, it hinders the game's ability to work. Our release planning relies on platforms supporting app developers like us releasing apps. There is no way a rapidly evolving multi-platform game like Fortnite can operate if platforms use their power or processes to obstruct. This is like a long and complicated one that's like, at this point, it's like, who cares anymore? Really, like, this has been going on for years, and it's like, yeah, Apple is in the wrong here, but it's like, it's the one, this is like the two richest kids on the playground, like fighting with each other, and like everybody else is there just like, who cares? You know, like, well, my daddy bought me a Lincoln. Well, my daddy bought me a Mustang. Like, it's just, it's, they're just tossing around like billions and billions of dollars like it's chump change, you know, having this dick measuring contest. And like, obviously, Apple's being stubborn like they always are. And Epic wants to make more money. They obviously don't need more money, but they find it unfair, which it is unfair, I think. I think most people think that Apple's system is unfair, but it's the one that they designed, and, you know, they've built up their ecosystem around this system. So, sorry. I don't know. It's just like, I don't fucking care about this shit anymore. It'd be nice if it was on the App Store. But, you know, there's so many other ways to play it now, so many better ways to play it. If I want to play it mobily, I'll play it on my Switch. So, and also I won't play it mobily because who wants to play Fortnite mobily? Because it sucks. It's hard to play big, you know, like AAA games on a mobile screen. That's why the best mobile games are the simple ones. Fortnite is not a very simple game, although a lot of kids do play it. So just like, why don't you guys both, you know, stuff your micro wieners back in your pants, zip it up, and, you know, do a little handshake. Figure this shit out. God, who cares anymore? Just put it on the App Store or don't, and shut up about it. God. No, I think that's all I had for today's news. Not a super eventful news day. Is there anything happening soon? I mean, SGF is right around the corner. Switch 2 is right around the corner. I'm working on a video for hopefully to come out on the launch of the Switch 2 about my experiences with the Switch 1. I have a feeling, though, that that's going to be a little bit after the Switch 2 comes out, because I kind of procrastinated working on it for a while, and it might be a hell of a bitch to edit together, and, you know, I've got work and other things on the side, so it probably won't be out. My goal is the launch day of the Switch 2. I'd like to publish it, but I'm thinking now it'll probably be like a week later, something like that. Maybe a month later. Probably not, though. But we'll see. If you got this far in the video, anybody watching this later, really appreciate it. You know, you could always subscribe if you felt like it. I'd really love that. I am, still just a small channel and looking to grow. I don't plan to stop this series anytime soon. I'm really enjoying making it. So, if you like to get your gaming news fix, I think, this is a good spot to get it. Pretty chill place. I have conversations with the chat. As you can see, I got one chat today. It said, huh? And I did respond to it. So, if anybody else was chatting, I would respond. Okay. I never know how to end these things, so I'll go, bye bye. Bye bye.